Okay.
Hey, and welcome to the Kenai. This is Craig, and I'm here to show you how to rig up for most fishing on the Kenai Peninsula. First and foremost, if you're just going for reds, and we'll start there, all you need is hip boots. You don't need anything deeper, because if you're more than calf deep in the water, the fish are just swimming behind you. They swim right up the edge of the river. They're not more than 10 or 15 feet out, so you don't need a whole lot of gear to do that. In fact, if you see people out waist deep, they're not going to be catching any reds, that's for sure. So hippers are going to do just fine for most of what you're going to do in the Kenai. If you're a fly fisherman and you might want some hip boots, or excuse me, some chest weight or something like that. But a lot of times hippers is all you need to do. Even for silvers in a lot of the rivers like the Anchor, they're only going to be in thigh deep water anyways. So anyways, starting with the reds. Reds are plankton eaters. They are not meat eaters. So they are not going to bite. All they're going to do is snap at a lure, a fly really, and then they're going to let it go. Or, as a lot of people call, you just flossing them, because you're passing the fly across their nose. So all we do is we use a Russian River fly. You can use a bigger hook if you want, with a piece of yarn on it or something like that. But don't worry too much about it. All you need is a hook, something that's going to float it a little bit off the bottom, and then that's about it. You tie, or you put the weight about 36, 48 inches above the fly, and you simply flip the fly upstream. I mean, literally, I put about 10 feet of line on a fly rod, and I flip it upstream. I let it go, swing all the way through, keeping it just a little bit faster than the water. If you feel any tug at all, you set the hook. Okay, that's how I do it. Some people will just flip it upstream, let it swing to about 45 degrees downstream, and then just pull back, hoping it's coming across the fish's mouth. That's all red fishing is. It's very simple, but it does take a little bit of knack. It's called a Kenai flip. Literally 10 foot upstream, watch it go down, pull it back, flip it again. That's all it is. Over and over and over again. If the fish are in, you're going to catch them. If the fish aren't in, you're not going to catch them. It's about as simple as that. And in Alaska, that's a funny thing. People don't realize that if the salmon aren't in, a lot of these streams are pretty much devoid of fish. A lot of times for the winter, they don't overwinter there. You'll see a lot of the times the trout especially will follow the salmon into the streams, and then in the winter they're going to slide back into the major lakes like Kenai Lake and that sort of thing. So that's all you need to do for reds. If you're going to go for kings, what you're doing is you're getting a little, what do we call it, a corky, really, and you're putting a corky on, and you're just back bouncing into the holes is all you're doing. Or you're throwing something like a spinner, which is the same thing that we use for silvers. This is just a chartreuse meps, silvers especially, like the chartreuse. And when the silvers are in, the same thing. They're going to hit early in the morning, probably before the sun gets on the water. And you can also use bait for silvers. With the silvers, you can also use bait with kings if it's allowed by the regs and the year. And all you do is put a bobber basically on top of the eggs and swing them through the holes. That's all that is. So fishing for the salmon are pretty straightforward. And then when you want to fish for trout, the main thing with trout up here is that they will not take a dry fly for love nor money. So what they're waiting on almost all the time is these little eggs, and these are called beads. You put a bead on. What you'll notice is that you hold it in place by a toothpick. You put a hook about 2 inches down from that. Put a weight on, and then this is a little bit short, but normally you're going to about 8 or 10 feet. You're going to put a bobber up there or some type of a float mechanism, and you're simply going to float this through the holes. And that's the way to catch fish on the Kenai Peninsula. If you're going for grayling, you can use dry flies, but anything else, unless you're going across Cook Inlet into the Bristol Bay area, you're not going to catch any trout on dry flies unless it's very early in the season, or sometimes you can swing some sculpin patterns or something like that. But once the salmon are in, what you'll notice is that all they're going to do is take eggs. And if you catch a trout or Dolly Varden and you pick it up by the stomach, a lot of time by the mid-season, all they're going to do is they're going to gush eggs, because that's all they're going to do is sit there and gorge on eggs. So again, with red fishing, all you're going to do is be flipping on the bank. For kings, you're going to be back bouncing the corkies or eggs. Silvers, you're going to be throwing spinners or drifting eggs. And for the trout, you're going to be using these beads. And that's all you need in Alaska, no matter what they tell you. Take care. Thanks for visiting us.